Salutations, greetings, and good evening, everyone. It's John the Net Guy, and today we are doing a mild to wild PC cases showcase. Now, I don't know why I thought of this one, but it looked like a good idea on paper until I tried to shove that many PCs into this small of a studio. There are some cases here like this one. Let's just start off the show with this craziness you guys have probably seen before. It's got that really cool Sapphire 240 AIO on it that you can't get right now. But we got things like that today. We've got some more standard cases, some things maybe that you might want to get for just a kid, a budget machine, things like that. And then we're going to go all the way to the extreme. We're going to go to the super wild stuff. Got a couple surprises in store too. Why don't you guys do me a favor and let me know in the chat that the chat is working, whether you're on YouTube or Amazon. Hopefully you're not there yet. Twitch even. I'm streaming to Twitch today, and or Facebook. So I see Dave Frank. Thank you for joining on Facebook. If you are on one of those other services, I'm about to turn on the Amazon. And when I turn on the Amazon, that's going to allow the Amazon folks in, but I can't say a few things. I can't direct you to, hey, go to my website or any of those social things down below and to subscribe or follow or do anything cool like that. I got a thumbs up on the Facebook working from Dave Frank there. And when I do that Amazon switch, you're going to see me talk about the carousel. Now, the first link in the video description is my Amazon shop. Actually, I can show you what that looks like real quick. It's this thing. So that's where you're going to see me, and I'm going to go live on there, but that's also where you can see all of the products today in this little group here. This is Tech on Tuesday, mild to wild PC cases. So you're going to see everything that I'm going to show today. If you want to go over to the Amazon, that's cool. You can stick around on the YouTube. I will be here in both places, and I tend to like the YouTube interface a little bit better. They're working on it. So without further ado, let me do the countdown. We'll get the Amazon guys in here and we'll get going on some stuff. And just a welcome to the Rev too on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining today. Awesome. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome everyone from Amazon. It is John the Net Guy and it is Tech on Tuesday. Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. I'm here showing you cool tech, doing some PC builds. Got a lot of cool stuff coming up this year. I'm very excited for it. Welcome Amazon subscribers. If you haven't already and you're on Amazon, take a look at the URL below over there and wherever that follow button is. If you hit that follow button, that allows you to get notified every time I go live, which is really awesome. That helps me out. Also helps me get higher on Amazon. One of my goals this year is to get on their A list. That means they'll put me up on their Saturday shows and they'll put the Net Guy out there, and we'll get to do some of this stuff maybe more often. So that would be kind of cool. Today's show is just jam-packed with cool stuff. I've got 6 different PC cases from, kind of not run-of-the-mill, but some basic ones, to crazy things like this. Now, this one is not even in the carousel. I have to point that out. This is a special case. This one is a open frame design. You can see there, and it's really for benching. You can even build it in a way that it lays flat. Uses extruded aluminum tubes, and it is a pain in the behind to get set up, but it's pretty cool for benching parts if you don't want to have anything in your way. I like using this a lot. I'm going to give shout outs to people on Amazon that are following today and people on YouTube. I actually do have to click our first product of the day. So the first product, I got to go back. Man, I'm like new at this or something. Okay. The first product that we're going to take a look at today is the Vetru, I'm going to get this right, Argb 120 3-fan kit. Now what's cool about this is from the Vetru company. They make the V5 cooler. Now that's not on the show today, but this is one of my favorite thermal solutions. This just happens to be the white edition. And I'll show you up close here. This thing kills when it comes to thermals. It has a single fan and it just destroys in all of my thermal tests. It does almost as good as a 240 AIO, if that tells you anything, and works with almost all CPUs. I'm hoping that they've updated it for the LGA 1700 socket because I'm starting to do a lot more with those, but we'll see. So this fan kit, though, is a really, really cool addition that I would highly recommend to any of these cases. If you want to take your boring case and maybe spice it up a little bit, the beauty of this fan kit is it comes with an integrated controller. So I'm going to see if I can show this unboxing to you maybe a little bit closer without tearing everything down. Let's see here. Hopefully you guys can see this. So this is the box right here and what you get. You've got 3 of the individual fans. And then there's another one hiding up under here. You get the fan controller and a user manual. Now, this user manual is not rocket science. It's literally 4 pages. That's all it is. There's nothing on the back because it's so simple to hook this up. Now, what's sweet about this one is you can actually hook additional fans and additional Rgb, addressable Rgb into it by way of the controller. So I've actually got a case all set up here that I'm going to show you with it all loaded up the cool way. Now, I'm opening this up here, and this is the controller that comes with the Vetru. Now you can see I haven't taken this out of the plastic yet, and I haven't even taken the power tab off. That's what comes off to activate it. It also comes with a foam shock mount here, and this really is to mount the controller that's coming up next to your case. Not a lot of cables in this, but you are going to have to do some cable management here. And what's cool about this, it takes one SATA drive connector. I know, we're trying to get rid of those. One SATA power connector. And then it takes a signal, a PWM signal from your motherboard, and one ARGB signal from your motherboard. And the cool thing is, it's all stock factory regular connectors. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 incoming ARGBs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fan headers. Now they say if you want it to do the motherboard pulse, you have to use this one. Now, if your motherboard doesn't have a variable speed fans or anything, you can absolutely still use this with just about any setup. And this one right here, you can just use the controller on here to change the fan speed. But once you set this up, this is way, way, way better than a lot of the other controllers I've had. And this honestly is something that I think if you're a PC enthusiast and a builder that does this often, I would keep this around very often for just enthusiast stuff. Maybe you want to throw some fans in a case. You want to test out what the controls are going to look like without a motherboard here yet. You can plug them in with this. And what's cool about this, I love Gamdius and some of the other guys. It has a non-proprietary, a very bog standard PWM control for every fan and addressable RGB. So super big plus there. I'm going to take a couple of these out and we'll just plug it in and I'll show you some of the controls and how you hook this up. But I do honestly have it in one of our upcoming machines. I've already set all 3 of them up. So switch over here to the second camera for you. There is the fan, and I think these are the exact same fans as are in the Vetru, but it is definitely a smooth fan. Look at that. Yeah, it's got a little bit of notch there from the magnets. That's what you're looking for. You don't want this thing to go that would be bad. I don't know on the bearing type on it. Let me just check that real quick. It is a hydro bearing. So that's actually a cool type of bearing there. So you've got sleeved bearings, you've got roller bearings, a hydro bearing. So it's going to have some sort of fluid in there. So very, very cool little setup. And like I said, each one of these is completely standard. And I bet you could probably even address more RGBs because they're daisy chainable. So if you've got a really tall case, it can go up there. Oh, I'm getting static on the mic. Ooh, I don't like that. Okay, let me just see if I can adjust that. One second. How does that mic sound? Are you guys going to hear me okay? I'm going to run on this mic for just a little bit, and you guys can tell me if I need a little bit more gain on that mic and if it sounds better than the overhead. Sorry, want to make sure I'm doing this right for you. Okay, just some blips and static in the mic. Okay, thanks guys. Just let me know how this one sounds. So this right here has that addressable RGB connector, and it can be jumpered, which is really, really slick too. So you can actually, daisy chain these. Then, like I said, it's going to have this other connector for fan speed. I'm going to do that real quick connection here for you. And I just happen to have an extra SATA port over here. So super duper easy to hook up here. I'm just going to take this over, plug it in here. Now you got to get the angle right. It kind of goes in at an upward angle. So once you've got that, that one's connected. Then you're going to do your addressable, if you want the addressable RGB from this. You do have the ability to turn off the RGB if you don't want RGB, but you still want cooling, which is really cool. I'm going to bring it over here and we'll switch out to the other camera. Okay, so this is the one right here, and I'm going to turn this PC off for just a second while I hook this up. I have plugged things in live too many times on one of my last shows. I may or may not have broke a 200mm fan on one of the machines we're going to show tonight. So let me know if that sounds better, you guys. Hopefully it does. I'm going to take a look at the chat here and see. Do a quick reload on our chat. Yeah, not seeing the chat overlay there. So yeah, looks like I've got a few people. Just let me know how that sounds. And we'll go to this. I'm going to turn it on and we should see something almost right away. Let's turn that machine on. That helps too. There we go. So you can see this is got its own addressable RGB, and it's just going through its little demo mode here. Now I can turn it off, so I can turn the lights off on this one. I can turn the lights on. I can change the mode that it's on. So that's kind of that full rainbow mode. I can, you know, go up through all the different modes that it has. So we'll do mode plus. There's some solid color modes. Tin can sound, otherwise doable. Okay, well, now you're making me wonder on this mic connection. I want to make sure that I'm not getting any pops or hiss there. So we'll try back in a little bit here. We'll see if we can get that fixed. So really cool ability to run that addressable RGB. And what's neat is if you want the rest of your fans here to match, now this one's not connected here, but I should be able to, I say that now, watch me blow this thing up. I'm going to turn this off. Like I said, I've blown too many of these things up. So this is the one for the Sapphire 240 AIO. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it right in here into this existing controller just to show you how universal this is. So it was plugged into the motherboard. I just switched it now. And there we go. So now these fans, these three fans, you see how they're linked now? And including, that's even cooler. I think it's got some different modes than the stock Sapphire one. So now as I change the modes or turn them off completely, I can actually change the colors and all of them match. And that is using the Vetru Argb 3 fan kit that I'm showing you right now. So this controller can take over and do the same things that your motherboard does. That said, you can actually plug in your motherboard if you want to this and pass it through. Same thing with the speed sensor that it has for the PWM. So then your fans aren't running super hot if your machine's not hot, but if your machine starts to heat up, then it can start, you know, putting on the coal for those fans. So very cool. I appreciate you guys being here. Hey, most awesome cooler ever from Pinky Tech on the Amazon. And Amazon customer, thank you so much for the follow. Do me a favor, you guys, on Amazon and on YouTube. Let me know what you guys did for Valentine's Day yesterday. I tell you what, we did TV dinners yesterday and it was awesome. I didn't have to worry about any stress. We've been stressed out running around for weeks now. So that was a really cool thing. My wife was like, I want Indian. Trader Joe's got the best Indian, so we picked up some of that. So this is the Vetru 3 fan addressable RGB kit that I wanted to show you first on the show. If you've got questions about this one, you want to see anything close up, just yell on the chat. That would be exclamation points, I'm guessing. And I will stop and take a look at whatever it is that you're looking for and let you know about it. So very cool. And again, this is, just so you guys can see it closer up, this is what I was talking about with that controller. Pretty small. It's got a stickable back here, and you can put that on the back side of a case. You can put it under a panel or something, and that just disappears. And then the fans, each fan comes with 4 screws. So you get 12 screws total that can actually work on there. So that's the difference on this one, is it's got all the things you need to add additional fans to your existing setup, or if you've never had it before, you can put new fans in. So very cool. I'm gonna put this one back and we'll scoot on to our next product on the show. And that is the Vetru That is the Vetru 3-fan addressable RGB kit for PC cases. Take those away. We're going to get to our first PC case today. This is kind of an interesting one. This is actually a Musetex. This is a 200 millimeter 200 millimeter fan up front case. This is probably not, I would say, the wild side. This is probably the mild side. But I want to show you this one first. I'm going to take this other case out of the way. And when I do, we'll make some room. I want to just get it so that you guys can see everything about this one. Put our product spinner out of the way. Bring this case over here. What's the holy grail of this case is the 200 millimeter fan up front. So that's monster. Now, if you guys are following on Amazon right now and watching, there's the one on Amazon carousel has 220 millimeters up front, not this 200. This is a product variation, and Amazon loves to do this to me. As soon as I get a product and then I get it in there and get it ready to demo, they discontinue it or change it. Now, this is the exact same as that other one that's going to be shown, but the only difference is this has a single 200 up front, but this is the exact same case as the Musetex 5 fan version. Now, I'm going to turn it on just so you can see it. And sadly, this does nothing for the how cool the RGB is. Here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to bring it up front here in this camera so you can see it. And then I'll be in the corner here, maybe a little bit that way. Oh, no, there we go. That thing is awesome. So it's got this massive, now my daughter likes the blue, so that's what we were doing when we were playing Fortnite the other day. But if you press this button on top, you can cycle through all the colors. Hey, Rev Arrow says, I love that case. That is so true, man. I'm going to do one thing here. I'm not getting the chat overlays. Give me 1 second to fix that. I would love to see you guys on this chat real quick. And I'm just going to get that up. Sorry for the little delay here. I would love to be able to let you guys see what each other are chatting about here on the stream, which is always fun. I'm just going to click through some of these. As you're doing that, let me know if you've got questions. Okay, this is one of my favorite RGB modes. So this case has that tempered glass side that everybody wants. Look at that. It comes built in with 3 fans. Additionally, got that monster 200 up front. Now let me do this without breaking all the fan blades off of it. So I did that on the last one here. You guys are all waiting. You're like, is he going to break the fan blades off of this one? Nope, I'm not. I gotta pull this thing off. There we go. So for cleaning or maintenance on this case, you can actually open it up, and there is that massive fan I was telling you about, right? And it looks even cooler when you don't have the mesh in front of it, so I'm going to turn it back on. There we go. So there's that fan, and this thing moves air, like significant amounts of air. The other cool thing about larger fans like this, the 200 millimeter, which I'm starting to become a big fan of, they're quieter. In general, the 200 millimeter is going to be a lot quieter of a fan, and it's going to work really well. So that's that. I'm going to do one quick change. I'm going to see if I can pull my headset out for us, and I'm going to switch and see if my audio is any better, and we'll continue with that. Net guy testing headset audio. Okay. Looks like that should work for the show. We'll take this thing off. Thank you guys for your patience here. Hey, Andrew, welcome. Thanks for joining the show today. And if you're just joining us on Amazon, other than having some microphone difficulties, hopefully you guys can hear us now. I am showing off 5 different PC cases, or sorry, 6, mild to wild. This is the first one that we're showing, and this is for a company called Musetex. Now I'm going to pull this up on the Amazon page as well. If you guys are wondering about how to find the Net Guy on Amazon, hey, let me for you. That's the URL on the lower left side. We actually have my own Amazon shop, if you will. That's where I put some of the best products that I've tested out there. I won't put it on my Amazon shop if it ain't any good. So you can just start with that. If you see it on there, it's been on the show most likely. If you see it on a Tech on Tuesday show on there, you can actually go back and take a look at that or my individual product videos, which are awesome. So if you go to that URL, one, you can see our live show that's happening right now, but if you scoot past those videos and you reach up to the Tech on Tuesday mild to wild side, there we go. And we have all of the different cases here. This is the one I'm checking out right now. Now, I got this thing. I can't really say prices. This one is $78.99. There is a new version of this with those 5 fans. There's some small updates on it. There's also this one right here with the 5 fans as well. And it's about the exact same price here. So you can see there's just some minor changes on it here. And then that's the new one. You have both a white and another option in here. This one will do M-ATX motherboards. It'll also do ITX motherboards. So I'm going to show you guys some different motherboards today. Oh, he's here. Are you guys ready for it? I don't have the ability. I have the ability, but I don't have the ability to do a proper Aussie good day. So I contracted one, and here it is.
G'day, mates.
Oh, yeah. It's a button on my stream deck that says Kren unarmed and armed, because every time I switch scenes, it's going to keep doing that over and over. But welcome, Kren, in the chat. Thank you so much for joining. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys the different motherboard sizes. This is the tiniest board we're going to play with today, and this is an ITX motherboard. You've got mini DTX, which I didn't really know much about until today, and then you've got M-ATX and ATX. They all go up from there. But that said, who wants another good day? I think we need another good day because that was pretty fun. I'm gonna have to hit that one more time.
G'day, mates.
Now he's gonna want all royalties from this show. I can just tell that's where it's headed. Some things that I really like about this case. Now, again, not a super heavy case, even loaded with the glass, it's not bad. You're gonna get the M-ATX capability. It's got the power supply basement, if you will. It's super easy to work in, but check this out on the back. You guys are gonna love this. My hardcore nerds, yell it out in the chat. You know what it is about this one. Maybe right here. It doesn't come with the PCIe riser, but it's pre-built to go with a vertical mount GPU. So think about that. With all of that RGB, you've got vertical mount GPU capability in a case that's $79 with RGB controller, motherboard PWM fans, and a tool-free design. Check this out. You can literally unscrew this, and we're good to go. Now no judging on the cable management, you guys. Come on, it was a long night. It was Valentine's. I didn't have a chance to really go crazy on this one. But there you go. So this one has easy access to the back. You can see the power supply is full length down there. I've got the controller kind of shoved in there, hidden. And then you can see that PSU mount really easy. It's got the standard backplate. Again, if you're just building your first PC, one of the things I really love about this is everything's pre-installed. So from a fan perspective and controller, everything's wired up for you and it's pre-installed and ready to go. So you don't have to worry about any of that. So that's kind of sweet. I'm just going to put it back together before I forget. And then we'll get moving along here. I'm taking a Zach's telling us he loves that Kren is the default Aussie. Yeah, he is. I love it. I'm going to try to get you guys the chat back here so I can put these up for everybody to see because it's so fun. I do love the RGB. Hey, tell you what, let me know in the chat what your favorite color or RGB mode is. I'll try to bring that up if I can. That's a really cool one there. The GoPro always has the best color when it does this. Definitely has the exposure beat there. Oh, there you go. That's kind of a 3-color wheel. Yeah. I am going to turn this off before I put the fan on so I don't have another fail live. I think it's been turned into an animated GIF of me knocking a blade off. I'll show you that coming up on one of our next cases when I put the cover on. Oh, and I'm just jamming the cable. Nobody told me about that. Case. This is the Mustex. Now, other cool thing on this is removable dust screen as well. Let's talk about top mount AIO. not top mount AIO. You have top mount AIO capability, but let's talk about top mount IO. So you've got a reset, a power, hard drive, power LED, two USB 3s, and separate audio for your headphones there. Pretty much all the stuff that you could want. Okay, and I'm going to come back over here so you guys can actually see on Amazon, because they did do some really good stock photos here. I want you guys to be able to see these too. And we're going to go through this one. There we go. You guys might have been getting an echo there. Can you guys still hear me okay? I just want to make sense. I think I had both the audios on at the same time, so hopefully that works. Different fans on this one. Again, you don't need to buy any more. You've got 5 fans that come with the other one. These are the rough dimensions of the unit right here. And this one, I'm going to pause on for just a second because I want you guys to be able to see that view. So you're going to get the mini ITX, you're going to get the mini ATX, you're going to have the power supply garage with 200 millimeter capacity. The front, you can definitely do pretty much all of the fans that you'd want, and or a radiator in the front if you can fit it there. It looks like you'd do one. I don't know why they didn't put that on there. Got 120 millimeter up back and 240 max on there. It is not for an ATX motherboard, so a couple of the ones coming up will definitely be good for a larger ATX motherboard. This one itself right now is good for your MATX builds, and for the price, that's a pretty good deal, I have to say. So this is John the Net Guy. If you're just joining on the Amazon, oh, hey, PC Phil, look at that plane propeller. Awesome, you're right. So I got some Amazon people chatting away here. Thank you guys for joining. And if you are on Amazon, hit the follow. It'd be great to have you to follow. If you're a follower, every single time I go live, it's going to let you know the Amazon app. And you can see some of the cool stuff I'm doing here in the future. Just showing you a couple more vertical mount GPU. Now, I didn't put a riser cable, which you'll need if you're going to go with the vertical GPU. But on this case, it actually does have the standoff tabs here for the bottom of your GPU to lock in place. So it's going to have good support. And then, you know, this has got the ability to do both that. Now, there's one other case, maybe two, that have that ability here that I'm going to show you guys in a bit. But that's an important distinction, especially on a budget ATX case, MATX case, I should say. And this is how it looks exploded. Getting some cuts on that mic. Someone's zapping nearby bandwidth. You know, give me 1 second here. I'll go check on my receiver. Sorry, guys. I'm going to cut around here. I'm going to move this out of the way. There we go. Hopefully you guys can still hear me okay. And just in case there is interference on that channel, I'm going to undo a couple things. Sorry, guys, for the fire drill here, but I just want to make sure that it sounds great. So we're not using these IP cameras. I'm sure they're putting out some interference. We'll make sure those are disabled as well. Let me know how the sound sounds if you can, and we'll keep going here. So that is the first case on our mild to wild builds here. Got it going here. We're going to go to the next one. This is from Mustex here. We're going to switch over to the next PC case, which I have behind me. And this one is one that's been on the show recently. It is also an MATX case. Sounded fine to me, Rev says. I like it. And this next case is from a company called Thermaltake. You guys may see this one and go, oh, that's familiar. And it is absolutely true, because this is the one I broke the other day. Josh says, no mic drops now. That's what we love. We don't like mic drops. This is probably one of the most unique cases that you're going to see today, just from a utilitarian aspect. I love this thing. There's lots of stuff to love about it. Now, I just took the top off. So that's got a clear acrylic top. It's not plexi, so that's something important to remember about. And I'm going to take the side off here on this side so I can show it to you proper, but it is a cube case. Oh, Josh is saying, built many times, little box even comes with a white variant. Yeah, there is an ITX version of this, which I don't have linked in yet, but I'm going to pull it up here so we get this guy going. So it's on the carousel right now from Amazon, and this is the side. Now, it's got a ton of hard drive storage down on the side here. Those are for your 2.5-inch drives. If you come over to this side, I'm going to take that off now. This is where things start to get interesting, I would say. The people that own this one, like Josh over there, you cheating, he's already like this one. And I can take this case, and now it's on its side. It's horizontal, right? Maybe. This is the beauty of this thing. Now, I would recommend putting the mesh side back on where your fans are. I would not put the solid sides on there, but this is kind of cool. So I can take what used to be one of the sides, and I can slide it over here, and I could make this the top of the machine. So I could put this on this side, lock it in. I'm going to do that. Let me see about moving the feet too. Now, I'm not going to adjust the I/O because I don't want to get into that level of detail here. But what's cool about this one, it's completely flexible. So if you wanted to have the fan on the front, top, side, whatever, you could do that. So I just put the mesh side on that side. I don't know why, but we'll go with it. Maybe you just want to have a really good look at your like massive PSU. Another cool thing is if you buy 2 of these, they come with an interlock kit where you can actually put them together. Now, I'm working on the bottom, which used to be the left side. And now I'm putting the legs on that side. And now I have converted, and I don't know how many of you guys can do this with a regular case, but I have converted my PC to stand this way. There we go. So now you're seeing through the side at this point. Now I'm going to take the power and put it on it real quick. Turn it on. Now what's funny is my I/O is on the bottom right now. Yeah, that was a mistake here. But what's cool about this, you can see that logo there. I'm going to bring you around to the front here. The logo is even magnetic. So we were wrong with our logo. Let's change it, and now we're right. So this is just freaking cool. That's one of the things I love about this one. Now, this one normally doesn't come with a front RGB. So if you guys are looking at this on Amazon right now, you're going, wow, that's got a lot of RGB. It does. And there's a reason for that. I was working on this one during a live stream, and I just happened to manage to break the stock 200mm fan. That is a replacement. I did not put it in the carousel, but this fan actually works really, really well. I'm going to turn it back on for us real quick. There we go. So this is a 200mm fan, just like in the other one. Now, I've done another thing here real quick, which is, remember those Vetro case fans that I was showing you earlier? I put them right there. Now, this one doesn't come with an upper fan, so it doesn't have one over the CPU. So I added that first set of fans, and those first set of fans I think were $24. I'll have to go take a look. I added those to this case. I'm going to take this off so you can see. And I added a third fan. So it looks like it's got an AIO on the side, but it doesn't. And I added a third fan up in the top back. So there's the 2 that you can see pretty easily. And I'll tilt this thing, and you'll see the third that I've added there. So now it's got 3 fans. So I went back to a stock cooler on this, but now that blows the air up and all of the air comes in and out. Now, the power supply, you can set it up whichever way you want on this one to blow in or out. So this is the second case on our list today, and this is the Thermaltake Core V21. This is an older design. It's about 5 years old, if I had to guess. I think that's about what they were. Let me know exactly if you guys know in the comments there. It's $79 right now, and somebody did mention that there is, if I do a V21 ITX, there's an ITX variant of it, and it's $59 right there. So if you really wanted an ITX, and there's also a white ITX variant. So if you wanted a really tiny motherboard, that's pretty cool. Peter North, interesting. We have a visitor in the chat. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put the sides back on the way I think they should go. And if you guys have questions about this case, again, complete square. The I/O can be converted and moved around. And we can actually do a ton of other really slick mods to this thing. It does have room for, like we said, an MATX case on it, which is, MATX motherboard, which I have here already. On it, I'm going to take and put the feet back on the bottom because I want mine to look normal. I'm also going to bring up a couple other pictures of it just so you guys can see the interchangeable side panels that we talked about, because that's a cool, unique feature that it has. I haven't seen that very well anywhere. So those are the different panels and views. You guys can take a look while I'm adjusting my legs back. Okay. Well, we might have to do some moderating in the YouTube chat. Oh boy. I would ignore that guy for now, and I might have to bring out the old band hammer. It's kind of funny. You make it to a certain level without having Yahoos in there, and then we just go from there. So, looking for mods if anybody wants to mod my live stream. Get applications can be sent to me over Twitter, or DMs are open. It's going to be cool. Other cool things I want to show you real quick while I got this is your AIO position is also variable. So there's a cool looking side shot of this machine while it's open. Don't cut your fingers off. This is a trick on how to take these off. You can lift up on this little mini tab and pull back, and these come off completely. And these were stock up on the top. So that's another cool thing, is you can actually move your fan support position. I'm just putting that through to the front. And you put it in there and push forward to lock, and it happens the same on both of these. And so I've moved both of mine from the original stock position. So I'm just putting the side on the way I want it. And like I mentioned earlier, the I/O that you see up front here, this little plate, if you want your I/O on the left side, right side, back side, top side, you can adjust those super duper easy with just a little bit of effort. So that is our case. I was looking for those last two screws, which I put all the way over here. So there you go. If you have questions about this one, let me know. I wonder if the ITX variants can have the panel swap. I'm almost certain of it, Kren. That's a great question, actually. And yeah, we were looking at the mini ITX. Sorry, when I pulled it up, let me do that. That's the mini ITX version. Look how small that GPU space is. Man, that thing's going to be a hoot. Yeah, it's pretty slick. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I think this one's actually going to turn into a theme build. I've been doing a lot of theme builds lately, and I'm almost certain that with a form factor of this, we've got a Borg cube imminent. I don't know what else I can make out of it that wouldn't be there. If you got ideas, throw them in the comments. That would be awesome. Okay, so this one is the Thermaltake V21 that we were talking about. The Core V21, again, super easy to work in case, lots of options, fits up to an MATX motherboard, has a stock black 200 millimeter fan up front, which works great. So I'm going to take and go to the next one, because I think you guys are going to want to see this one more than some of the others. You know what? I'm going to put this over here. Okay. The next one up. I'm going to bring that up in the Amazon chat. Okay. Unless you broke the internet. Mic drop. Nice. Maybe they cut me off on Amazon. We'll see. Okay. Well, the next one I'm bringing up on Amazon Live right now in the carousel. It's going to be the NZXT. So this is the H1 non-flammable version. There was a story related to this one. The original H1 that came with a graphics riser had some design issues, and there were issues with customer safety. A website out there figured it out, did some testing, let the vendor know, got a lot of views out of it, and then this became the new version of it. Let's go down here and just talk a little bit about the construction of this one. So as I said, this is the NZXT H1. All of your stuff comes out the bottom on this one. Your power supply is going to connect over here, but all your I/O is going to come out of the bottom. If you look at this thing, and actually I should bring my product spinner, make it easy on myself, right? If you look at this thing on all sides, it's either glass or ventilation. So we got that. Now I'm going to do an Itx build in here. Let me pull that motherboard back out. This was actually the board that's going to go in this one. I had it for the NR200, but I'm actually switching. That's how small the motherboard is, and it has to be, because if you look, that's basically the whole cube right there. You know, whatever way you shape it, it's not going to get any smaller. That ITX takes all of it. Now, to open this up, it's got kind of a unique design. Again, tool-free, which is cool. I'm pulling from the bottom, and these are all snap-ins. So that's one side. We're going to go to the other side here. I do believe that you can get another vented panel to replace the glass if you want max airflow. Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Josh, in the comments. He's letting us know that we can get another mesh panel if we want. And that's true, because you can actually change which side you want your glass on this one. So those are the two panels off there. Now, let's take a look at it real quick. You can see how incredibly tight this is going to be. This one on Amazon, let me pull it up right now. It's going for $199.99, and that sounds like a lot for a case. ITX stuff generally costs more. Smaller is more expensive in this case. But there's a couple interesting things. You're going to get your power supply with this. I believe it's got the 650. Yeah, so it's an 880 plus gold power supply, so that's good. And that's built in. It's right up here, already pre-installed. Now you can lift this side, if I remember right. Yeah, and that's where your power supply connectors are if you want to get to all those and get to the power supply, but this cover by default covers those. So that's where your power supply is. It can fit quite a GPU. Now there is a V2 version of this one that has even more GPU space, but it is got quite the GPU valley there. Now that GPU is going to connect, and it's going to come out that bottom corner right there. So hopefully there's enough room to make your 90-degree angles with your DisplayPort cables and stuff. And then that will go there. The other interesting thing is I pull the top of this off. You guys are going to see what else it comes with, which is something else you don't have to buy, which is this 100, I believe it's 120. Let me double check. 140 even AIO. So it's going to have this AIO built into it right here. And that's going to save you a little bit on buying a cooling solution. So now you've got your power supply, you've got your cooler. Hey, welcome everybody on the Amazon chat. It's John the Net Guy. We're just taking a look at the NZXT H1. This is an ITX case. And let me know, I think Amazon froze, they said. I just want to make sure that Amazon is still happy and transmitting. They do have one of the biggest data center companies in the world, so hopefully they're able to keep up. So this is actually kind of cool. It has a bunch of grates over the AIO blades, and there's actually less fan blades than I expected on that fan. You can see it there. So it's definitely going to be moving some air. They're definitely very aggressive. And it does come with the pump and heat plate right there. So that's the pump housing and plate that goes onto your CPU. It does support a variety of CPUs. I don't know if I'd go too crazy on an ITX, especially 140, but it should be able to dissipate just as much heat as a standard standard heat pipe cooler. So that's how you take the top off of it, as it slides up vertically, and then you can get into this up. But literally for room to work, this is not the case you want to do for your very first PC build. It is going to be very frustrating. You got to have your IO out of the back here. So the IO would basically come out that side. So the motherboard sits like this. Your IO's down there. And this is the NZXT H1. So like I said, if we take a look real quick over on Amazon. So that one is $199. I purchased another variant. I purchased the 510 before, so it's just telling me that here. But, you know, decent case. Again, there's one with a GPU installed. I did not put a GPU in this. There's all the pre-installed cables, and there's kind of a breakout just so you can see a little bit bigger, you know, how this thing is structured. So you're getting PSU, getting the cooler, you're getting pretty much everything but the motherboard, CPU, RAM, hard drive, GPU. Once you get those, you can do that. So Zach's saying, worse than my cheese grater case. Now, he's got one that's very, very similar to this. I think it's a little bit bigger, has a handle. That's a couple claims to fame of that one he's talking about. As far as I/O goes on this, for the top panel, let me switch over so you guys can see that. That would help. So you're going to have kind of minimal I/O here. You got a power button, You got, I'm guessing, a USB 3, a USB-C, and a combination. NZXT is really into that. A combo headphone connector, and that's fine. You know, that to each his own, right? That's the way that they want to do it. And you know, some people go with the dual. They do include the breakout that goes there. Zach's in the chat letting us know that it's 50% bigger than each one. I saw him build that the other day, and that looked painful. And if that's 50% bigger, you're going to want to tune into the live stream when I build this one just to see if I swear a lot. I usually don't. But this is actually going to be a really cool case. Again, from NZXT. One thing I love about most NZXT cases is the cable management is really good. Especially the H510. I've got the streams coming out of an H710 right now. So I'm big NZXT fan, and they have been pretty customer responsive. They've come out with a V2, like we said, of this one, and that V2 is pretty slick now. Let me see here. I just want to, doesn't really matter because I'm going to take it apart, but I'm going to put the mesh side on this side. If it will take, there it goes. Again, snap-in panels here on the sides. Slip top over the top. I'm going to pull this down. We're going to put this side on. If you guys have any questions about the H1, if there's anything I can show you specifically on this other than building an entire PC in it tonight, let me know. That's what I'm here for. That's why this is live. You can ask questions, and I will maybe know the answer. And if I don't, there's a lot of smarter people than me in the chat that do. So we're taking a look at the NZXT H1 right now, and then we're going to move on to our next case. This one is another ITX case coming up, but it's actually a little bit different. I'm like running out of room to put PCs here. I knew this was going to happen. So I'm pulling it up in the carousel right now. This is for you guys. This is good reason to tune into live stream build. Still has appeal on it. Yes, we'll do the ASMR. I'll have it all set up to do that. No scratchiness. It'll be 100%. This is one of my newest favorites. It is an ITX case, but it's actually more than that. This is the Cooler Master NR200 case. I bought this the other day on a super special deal. Hopefully I'm not getting you guys dizzy there. I just hadn't used the slider yet, or the product spinner yet, and it looks pretty cool. Let me actually bring this down a little bit for the small guy. What's cool about it is all of the things that I didn't know when I bought it, and I'll show you that. So I can take the side off, right? Which, oh, that's normal, right? Anything. Again, tool-free design here. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do this so you guys can see it. There's 2 screws for this support here. And this is going to keep it structurally rigid. It doesn't really do anything. I guess looks like you could mount some drives to it if you wanted to. So there's the support bracket there I'm going to take off. I'm going to save my screws so I don't get caught. So there you go. Now this is a mini ITX platform, but you notice it's got a lot more I/O than that. It has 2 more slots. Now, what's cool about this, vertical GPU mount. Now, where do you see that in an ITX optional to do a vertical GPU over here? Now, that goes right over the CPU, so you better have a really short CPU cooler there, or an AIO option, and you want to put your GPU vertical. You could actually do that. You could put a huge AIO at the bottom and put your GPU vertically. This power supply is in the alternate position. Now what I found is this motherboard is a B150M. So you're like, how does a B150M motherboard fit in there? This is actually a mini DTX board standard. So that's kind of an interesting oddball size. It is the same, I guess, length as a ITX, but it's longer vertically. So it has the additional slots there, the 2 PCIe slots. So I've got a Wi-Fi card. That's what I plan to put on it. I'll do a Wi-Fi card review. There's a couple other things that are cool. A stretched ITX is what Josh says. Hey, T-Dolts is around. Thanks, man. Thanks for showing up. Almost used one of those on my niece's build. Now, I actually had to look this up because I thought there was a pink one of these, and there is. It's just not in the carousel. Not that pink has to be a girl color, but man, I thought, what a better color, and a combination right from the factory. You don't have to do any modding. But I've thought about even modding some of these. So now I've taken 2 sides off. You got to see this thing, man. I'm telling you, it's kind of cool. So a couple ways you can actually lift from the back if you want, or the front. I can take the top I/O off. Now you're going to see a couple cables that are still hooked to it, and one cable. And this is actually an optional fan that they include for the top with a grate. So that comes with the kit when you buy it, which is really slick. Come back over here. It already has the rear fan. Now this is not the standard 120. I can tell that already just looking at it. I'm guessing that's 100 if that. So you can optionally install this or not. If you go vertical GPU, you're not going to have the rear fan in here. You might be able to use it elsewhere. And again, the power supply unit here is really interesting. So it's a SFX power supply. It'll also do an SFXL. I've never used one of those, but I guess that's the longer. Another cool thing, like I said, I'm taking this whole thing down in front of you. Haven't used a tool yet except for that side mount. Hard drive mounts up front. So it's got rubberized hard drive mounts that can hide your ugly hard drive because you're not getting, most likely, a NVMe on this one. And you can do that. So again, a couple hard drives up front. You can also do a 3.5 up front, sideways if you wanted. There's lots of options here. The thing's still coming down. Found another thing that comes off. You take one screw out of the bottom. I've had to pull out a screwdriver finally. 92. I was thinking 80. Oh, triple slot. Fit a chunky GPU. Somebody said in the comments. That's the truth, ain't it? GPUs are just getting so big now. I have that 6500 that everybody loves to laugh at right now. I'm gonna turn this over and see if I can pull this bottom off cleanly. There we go. Okay, so much like the Thermaltake I showed you guys earlier, this thing is completely down to bare metal. And you can't swap the sides and do stuff like you can with the other one. But if you're going to build an ITX, or in this case a IDTX, no, mini DTX, start it out this way. Pull all the panels off, they clip right back on, and build it like you would a regular PC. So if you're building your first ITX, I would not recommend hitting the H1. I'm actually a little bit worried about that. And this one I'm looking forward to. I have put an RX 580. Actually, you know, how many people want to see the GPU collection here? Or am I just going to make people mad at me? Let's see. Got a box of GPUs. 580, 580, 1070. Yeah, I don't know. Let's grab a 580. That'll work. I have the really ugly GPU. This is the test GPU. That's the one that goes in when I don't care about the machine and I just need to see if it posts. That's my test. Everybody's got to have one of those, right? You got to have your GPU that's worth like $5. Okay, so I'm going to throw a GPU in here just to show you guys how much room we have front to back. Now, I'm not going to actually be able to punch it down because my power supply and everything is in the wrong spot. But you can see here, that's a decent sized GPU. And let's see if I can do it vertical, the way it would normally sit. So you can see I'm front to back, even with that alternate power supply location. That's going to work really, really well. Josh is a super tech. He says he's got AGP, PCI, PCIe test GPUs. I got rid of my AGPs and now I'm kind of sad about it. I don't have a PCI. That's even old school, not even the Express. So you can see with a decent sized GPU, this case still has room. I don't know exactly. We can take a look at Amazon to see exactly what's left. But if you've never tried this specific case, I would recommend it. Just if you're just looking for something new to build in, the NR200 is a really, really popular design. And it's been around for some time. They're already modifying it with a glass panel if you want that side and you want the RGB. Or if you want to grab some of those RGBs from the beginning of the show, again, those will work up top. It will support 120s. And then you can add some RGB to this thing. Also, you can add RGB to the side. So if you want to put RGB on this side, this is that side support panel that I took off earlier. Helps if you put it on the right way. So you could very, very easily add a couple RGB fans to that, and you could add some cooling to this as well as additional color. So that's pretty cool. And if you guys have one of these or have ever built one, just shoot it out in the chat. I'd love to know if I got some resources here, if I get stuck later, or if I want to show off my version of this build. I don't think this thing's going to be white when I'm done with it. Let me put it that way. This is going to be a theme build that I'm going to do, and I got some cool ideas for it. So just throwing it back together real quick here, and you can see how fast that goes together. The side panels here. And I'm almost done. This thing's almost back together. Now, before I put the last one on, technically I want to use the splitter. Now, the splitter is included here. This is your dual fan splitter. So in my case, my motherboard only has one chassis and one CPU fan connector. So I was able to do that. Let me put this down here. Perfect. Coming together. And there's the only thing I guess maybe I could say is dated on this thing a little bit is the I/O up top. So you're getting that single, I put a nick in the case, sorry. That's maybe why I paint it. It's got one little nick. It has that single audio connector and then the dual USB 3s. And this one, I'm going to fire it up in just a second so you guys can take a look at it because it is a full-blown working machine. Does not come with RGB. So you're not going to get the RGB, but actually for a first-time Itx build, decent. Now I said doesn't come with RGB, but you're like the eagle eyes among you are going to be like, hey, what's that red? That is the back of the motherboard RGB. So this motherboard was a $58 Chinese special, but you know, it came from another site I'm not allowed to mention while we're on the air. But it was for my 6700 chip, which is going in this, but this would make a great little home theater PC size. And that's what I was kind of going for with this one. So if you got any other questions about this one, let me know. We're going to switch on to the next one because I don't want to be here all night either. So we're coming up to our next one. I'm going to take a look at the Amazon chat. Awesome. Showing the gold. Bling, bling. That must have been when the GPUs came out. Exactly. Okay, we're on to the fun stuff now, guys. We're down to the home stretch. We got 2 cases to go. I'm excited about this next one, only because I had never seen it before when I ordered it. It was something that I thought would be really cool to have on the show, and it's going to be even cooler as a theme build. But I want you guys to let me know what you think. Now, that sneaky Greg Salazar, he got ahead of me on this and did a full-blown YouTube review before I could. Other than looking like a teenager's bass tube in the back of his car, this is probably one of the most unique case designs. Now, I have a power supply in it. It does not come with one. This is the Vetro K2. So if you're just joining on Amazon, this is John the Net Guy. We're taking a look at the Vetro K2 MATX case. So this is a case that you can build your PC in that nobody else is going to ever look like. And I was thinking about using this for a theme build. I'm going to take the top of this. I don't know if I should call it a trash can, if that would be, you know, something bad to say about it, because, you know, the Apple, what is it, the iPro, whatever, Mac Pro was a trash can, but it was obviously vertical and it was much smaller than this. It does have that fan up front. I want to show you this. That's one of the complaints that Greg had about it, is he said, well, the blades don't go all the way to the edge. And I'm like, they do here. You know, they go to the edge and that's open to the back. It's a 200 millimeter front fan. Let me pull it up real quick for you guys on Amazon so you can see it. And if there's a beeping coming through, let me know, because I'm actually using a power supply tester to run it, and I do have one of the leads disconnected, so it's unhappy. Apex Legends Shield canister is what Skull's saying. This has a very science project vibe going on. If you're just tuning in, it's John the Net Guy. We're taking a look here at the Vetro K2. This is available right now on Amazon for an even $99.99. Let's round it up to 100. It's a pretty cool case. A 200 millimeter front fan. He had a lot of problems with 2 things. One, that connector you see right there. So it has a Molex connector if you want that front light and fan running. I don't know. You can get an adapter if you really need to, but that's one of the things that he didn't like about it was the connector. Second thing was the thermals. He said this thing's not great on thermals, which I could understand unless you plan it out. Now, it's got an opening on the top here for additional fans. Let's come back to the wide here. I'm going to show you all the things about it real quick. You can put additional fans all over this thing. Ooh, yeah, I don't want to do that. You can put additional fans on the top. In his design, he did not actually have the rear fan installed, which is going to give you more of your airflow. If you're looking for cross ventilation, basically, if you want the ventilation to go front to back, which is what it's designed for. You can put one in the rear, and then he had a vertical exhaust CPU cooler, which if you put a standard CPU cooler, now I kept this out here and I haven't measured, and I've got this monster PSU in here, but even out towards that edge, which it's not going to be, this CPU cooler should fit. So this is a pretty large one. If I put the motherboard in it, it's going to fit in here at least, and if we're front to back, it's going to be more like that in the middle. So you could put a heat pipe cooler in here. You could definitely work the thermals up on this thing and have a decent machine. This is going to be a theme build, like I said. What I don't think is going to be easy is to put a power supply in this. I had to just throw it in here in the top because to get the power supply in, you got to take the whole bottom of the case off. So that's one thing I don't like about it. This is that power supply tester I was telling you is beeping and making all sorts of noise. It's because I don't have the additional leads on it. But that does let me turn the power supply on without having to resort to other cables. Let me do a couple quick things. I want to show you on Amazon more about this case. If you have questions about it too, let me know those as well. So we're going to go back to Amazon real quick. So this is the case right here. We're going to go through some of the stock photos. This is the different sizes that you can put in here. So you can do the MATX motherboard, you can do the ITX board, you can do your SSDs up here under the bottom. So I'm guessing they're having you flip it over on its back, take those bottom metal shrouds off, and then you can work it that way. This is not a case if you need to do a lot of work on your PC all the time. If you're one of those tinkerers, get the Thermaltake V21. But if you're one of those people that wants something that nobody else has, this would be one of those. And this case is pretty slick here. So you can see there with the Vetro cooling, and they put an AIO up here. I've got their 360 AIO. That definitely would not fit, but like this to me would be a really good thermal solution, right? So you put and actually now I'm getting some ideas. You put a 240 AIO in, you put a rear fan to exhaust. It's exhausting front to back and up, which is everything you want. The other cool thing is if I look at the bottom, and you can't see it right here, but you can change the power supply orientation to vent down and back out of the bottom, and you're still getting that front to back. So totally doable. Somebody says Heineken should sponsor the show. Is that because all the green in this? Yeah. There's some more RGB. Keeps coming back to green. I don't know why. I'm going to keep changing the RGB colors here. A couple other things about it. It does not retain memory of the different RGB. So I'm using the built-in RGB controller. You can actually change it, and I believe you can do the addressable right off of the motherboard. But don't quote me on that. I'd have to double check that. But yeah, this one is using the stock control settings. Let me just pull. Yeah, so that is going to the reset switch to whatever RGB controls it's got. So that's the case here. This is the Vetru K2. This is an MATX case. There's a thermal solution that it's talking about here. Is a lot less blues than reds, but there's what it's talking about, the front to back design. And that wasn't set up the way when he tested it, so that's a little different. Here's some stuff about the I/O that we're talking about. So it's got USB 2, which at this point we're almost ready to get rid of, I hope. And then we got USB 3, but you can never have enough USB ports. It does have power reset up here. And I don't know if they're going to show you on the side is where it has the additional button to do the RGB. You can traditionally mount a GPU. There's no vertical to this thing, so it's already vertically mounted, so you're not going to do that differently here. If you are worried about a GPU from a length perspective, don't be. This thing is 17 inches, and most of that is available for your GPU. Probably at least 14 of that is available for your GPU. So you can put just about any monster you want in this thing. And then just looking real quick, if there's anything else I missed on this. Yeah, it's an interesting case design. It's definitely got the unique flair to it. I'm going to go over here, make sure I didn't miss anything before we bring out the grand poobah. The big one. There it is. So if you want something that's sitting on your desk like that, I would love to see a vertical kit for this thing, because I could see like R2D2 or something. I want to, in my theme build, do some pretty interesting stuff on this one. So we'll talk about that later in that show. But yeah, this is the Vetru K2. I think we're about ready to switch to the final product in the show. Let's see what we got here. And Kren's asking about the USB. That's single. And yes, there is that beep. Sorry, Dave. That was our power supply tester had this thing plugged in with. Let me unplug this so it doesn't make any more noise. Hopefully I got the right one. There we go. But yeah, so this was the K2. We're going to the last product up on the list, and this thing is unique. I've sent pictures to a couple of you. I want to do a theme build for one of the arm services. I don't know. There's two of them. Well, technically there's three that fly planes-ish. Some fly in space, some don't. I'm just debating right now which one I want to build this one out of, because to me it looks like a jet fighter. So I'm going to pull that one up here shortly. If you're just joining on Amazon, this is John the Net Guy. If you use that follow link, you will be notified every time I go live. And looking to go live at least 52 times this year. I'm on schedule for that. We're doing a once a week live show, doing some PC build shows with some other friends. And let me know if you'd like to see some special guests occasionally. Let's see. Retired disabled USAF and Jeff's forum. Hit up for help. Oh, awesome. Thanks, my friend. I will talk to you because that was one of the service branches that my dad was in, and actually I've been thinking about for this. So, this is a very, very interesting case. Let me pull it up here and we can start talking about it. This is not a case that you buy because you're looking. Here it comes. You guys ready? This is the Vetru K1 Pangolin case. This is the most unique case I've ever had on the show and probably ever will have. This thing looks like it's going 1,000,000 miles an hour when it's standing still. It is so big, I'm going to have to pull my camera back just so you can see all of it at once. There you go. And I'm going to take this side cover off. We don't need the glass. You guys can imagine what it looks like. It is massive. It's also at like maybe a 15-degree rake. And I'm saving this for the ASMR stream, guys. I'm saving all of this peel. It's ready. It screams Iron Man or something. It absolutely does. That's what they're saying in the chat. From a metal perspective, the thickness of the metal is enough. It's what you would have expected building a case like this. You could not build this yourself. I did metal work for a while. The press, break, roll, bend that you would have to do and the engineering to get it all lined up, this had to come commercial. I can tell you there was one small minor piece of damage up here on the top. It's actually supposed to sit just like that. You can see those rivets that go there. My UPS guy was not friendly with this case, so I'm going to do a little bit of rivet repair on there. But it's an interesting style. The power supply goes in the bottom here. You can see that ventilation. Why even cut slots, really, guys? Got so much. I can fit my arm down the inside of the back of these cases. I've got some really, really cool ideas for this thing. Let me go back out to the wide so you can just see. This thing is so big, it's hard to show. It's got a really cool, like, dark gray pewter finish, maybe. I don't know what I would call that. Let me know. Pinky's in the chat says looks like an old Kirby. I think he's watching the other one. That's an old dust. That would be a great oh gosh, what's the game I'm thinking of? BioShock, right? That could be a super great, that other case we were looking at could be a super great BioShock theme, and just get a hose for it or something cool, and that could be all your cable management, could be a hose to the vacuum machine. I'm loving that, Pinky. Yes, K2 could be for the Space Force. Looks like a Decepticon. This absolutely does. Now, it's going to come, like the other Vetru, with the included, screws, the standard standoffs. It's not going to come with power supplies or cooling or anything like that. Let me pull up the picture online because I actually bought both of those fan kits just for this build. I needed 6 more fans. This case already comes in at $169, but I needed more fans for it. So I need to get 6 fans. It also has, you can see here, I've purchased this one myself. I'm going to pull up the layouts on this. Support for ITX, MATX, full-size ATX. Now, it doesn't say ETX, so I don't know how much length it's got, depth, but it has that a full 7 slots. I want to talk about cooling real quick because this is where all those fans are going to go. I actually got it here. It's hidden behind stuff, but I actually have the 360 millimeter Vetru AIO for this build, and it's going to get one of the biggest, meanest Intel 12th gens that I can afford is going to go in this with the 690 motherboard. So this is going to be probably a $3,000, $3,500 build, especially if I put a good GPU in it, maybe 4 when it's all out. And I want it to go to somebody in one of those services. So we'll see where that goes when I do that build. Let's talk just functionally about this thing. It's got front panel AIO. Sorry, not front panel. Yeah, I gotta start like drinking coffee before these shows. It's got front panel IO, power. It's gonna have your separate audio, USB 2, and a single again USB 3. It's going to have, again, million spots for fans anywhere you can put them. And I want to do some other cool things to it. Actually, this being disconnected, let me show you here real quick. This last panel, I noticed that all of these panels are hinged in some way. And this gave me an idea that I could do something really cool with this, but I don't want to give any hints now. So this, again, this is the K1 Pangolin. If you guys have any questions about it, want to see anything specific, I can tell you about that. 170 millimeter CPU height. Well, just take the glass off at that point because this thing is so big. You really don't get much beyond that. There is your IO and I shouldn't even say front panel, like top shield or whatever they're calling it. We'll have that. And then there's a picture of it when it's all built out. And I think it could look really, really cool like that as well. So this is the star of the show. Let me show you the back side of it. It does have some hard drive mounts on the back side here. I'm going to bring that up for you. So you can see there, once I take this glass off, there's a hard drive mount here. I don't know what I'm going to do for hiding cables in this. I might have to come up with something unique here because there is no cable management. Everything is visible and there's just literally nowhere to hide. So thank goodness for NVMe storage, right? So it'll be interesting. I'm going to check the chat real quick. Could do a supercar theme as well. Actually, yeah. Oh, you know, like the old school 80s Lambos. Yeah, those were really cool. The Countach there. Yeah. I wasn't a Ferrari guy. I was a Lamborghini kid. When I was a kid, I had the posters. I don't know what you guys had, but that is the show for today, guys. We went through a ton of different cases. I had a really fun time showing you these. These are all going to be future or present builds that I'm going to be selling. So these will be available later. They are all available from Amazon, the parts for these builds and these cases. We went through NZXT. I should pull all these out here. We went through their H1, which is this little guy. So if you look from small to large, this little guy, you could probably fit 3 of in this one. We talked about this guy. He's really, really interesting for a ITX case, if that's something you're looking for. We also went through the NR200, which is this little guy, the little toaster, little oversized bread box. This one is, again, really cool just for the utilitarian nature of it, how easy it is to build in, how all the panels snap off with kind of that tool-free design. So that's another unique case that we talked about. I'm not going to pull it all the way up here, but this is that massive 200 millimeter front fan, tempered glass side, the Musatex. We talked about that today. Second to last here, or third to last, we've got the Thermaltake Core V21. This is a very, again, unique case here that, you know, something's very useful. I think there's a couple things I could have done differently, like the acrylic side glass here, or top glass. It's already getting some scratches, so if you're somebody that's not prone to keeping your stuff clean, that's one you may want to worry about or skip. This is the Vetru K1. Over here, this is the K2. So these are the 2 different Vetru models. Very, very unique designs. These are going to be some really, really cool theme builds in the future, so stick around and make sure you're subscribed for that. Let's take a look here at the chat. Cable modding company that can make perfect fit cables. Josh, that's a great idea. And hopefully they're not too expensive, and if they're not, maybe we put some sponsors on this thing because it's not going to be a cheap build. And I have some, again, some surprises you guys don't even know about for this thing It's material sciences. Let's talk about that. That's going to be a really cool one as well. Also get another question from Andrew in the chat. He says, have you seen the Asa Pyramid and the Deep Cool Tristellar? I have not. Now you're going to get my fingers going here on Amazon to see if they sell those. So that would be pretty cool. Those chassis demand full custom sleeving, water cooling, really nice AIO with LCD. LCD is a great idea for this one, especially if it's, you know, like an airplane theme. I think that would be awesome. So thank you guys for joining. I had a wonderful time. I just want to, again, remind you about my Amazon shop. If you guys have not been there already, all of the products that you saw today are available here. And if you go to Tech on Tuesday number 5, Mild to Wild, I honestly love these two. This is the Vetro V5 coolers. If you're looking for a good cooling solution, or you should always have some extra fans and a controller laying around. This will work for just about everything. And it's a pass-through. So this controller will work through your motherboard. If you just need something to expand your I/O, you don't even need to use the remote, which is pretty slick. So that was the product we started the show with. If you want to see any of my other PC builds, budget builds, you can take a look at those here. And just to give you a quick foreshadowing, next week, Tech on Tuesday, I have a robot vacuum to give away. The vendor reached out to me, the brand, we talked a little bit, and I was looking at this thing. It is very, very unique. I'll tell you, it has some features that I haven't seen on other robot vacuums, security-related features, something that we kind of wished Wise would have done for some of the people from Wise that may be listening. So tune in next week. This is John the Net Guy, 5:30 Tech on Tuesdays Pacific time. That's when the show will be. And next week, stick around for that vacuum giveaway. Thank you guys all for watching and have a wonderful rest of your week and evening.